Hi, I'm Elizabeth Frasciello, and this is my learning styles video for Critical Pedagogy 2 online. After taking the learning type measures test, it indicated that I was a type 1 learner, and this video is kind of going to be an explanation of my exploration of what being a type 1 learner means. The first thing that popped out to me was what being a type 1 learner meant for me socially. Type 1 learners are generally really personable and outgoing and friendly and seek to build relationships and, in general, be a social person. Does that describe me? I think so. I noticed today that as I walked through the Great Plains, I said hi to like 4 people. 3 of those highs turned into conversations. One of them, I don't think I even know who the person was. But that was the type 1 in me, being social. My favorite sentence in McCarthy's About Teaching book is when she says, if they are forced into a conflict situation, which is usually difficult for them, they deal with it through dialogue and a great deal of listening. This is exactly how I feel. My motto is actually conversation over confrontation. I'm not good with being in conflict because I'm not aggressive. I'm very passive, which is, I think, why I always want to talk it out rather than get into a yelling fight over things. I just find it a lot more meaningful to talk out situations. You find more understanding in the end. Based on McCarthy's description, do I think that I'm a type 1 learner? I don't know, because when she talks about discussion and group work as our favorite style of learning, I agree with that. I definitely do. I think that I learned so much more from working with other people and hearing their points of views and then being able to reflect on my own as I explain to them how I feel. But one thing I really didn't like that she mentioned was our focus question. She says that type 1 learners always ask why, what's the underlying value. I feel like whenever I go into a classroom, my question is always how. And that's really interesting because how is the focus question of type 3 learners, which is the opposite end of the spectrum. I first started realizing that I asked the question how a lot when I was in high school math, because you'd be given a formula, a set of directions to follow, and then you'd arrive at the answer. I always found myself questioning, wait, how did we just get that formula? Where did we get that from? So after the teacher explained the underlying concept, I would take the how and find my own way to solve the problem. I think the most important question that I can ask myself while exploring different learning styles is how my learning style is going to affect the way I teach. And from there, how I'm going to accommodate other learning styles in the classroom. The way that McCarthy describes how my teaching style would be makes sense to me because I'm a type 1 learner, but I can't assume that all my students are going to learn the same way that I do. McCarthy lists a number of points that type 1 teachers are usually interested in, 4 of which I really did agree with. They encourage individual growth, self-awareness, authenticity, and being informed on social issues. I think that these 4 points are unarguable. They are valuable to all students, all people, and all learning types. One of the major problems that I do find with the stereotypical type 1 teacher is using class discussion and group projects as a main form of teaching. You can't assume that all the students are going to learn in the same way, so using a very type 1 learning style would not accommodate the whole classroom. I think one of the most difficult parts about being a teacher is to make sure that I am teaching all my students. I think it's really important that I'll be able to recognize the different learning styles within the classroom. That way I can mold who I am as a teacher based on who I have to teach and format my lesson plans accordingly.